Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, as you have probably guessed from the title, I'm going to be reviewing the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. So I'm sure lots of you have seen this already. This is what the palette looks like. It's got that same kind of finish as the Modern Renaissance palette, that velvety finish on the front, but obviously this has got the green finish to it rather than the pink. And when you look inside, it's got all these gorgeous earthy tones. Like, they are so beautiful. There's 14 eyeshadows that you get with this. You've got a shimmer, like these two are kind of shimmery, and then this one's got more of a foily texture. I guess this one's kind of like halfway between a shimmer and a foil, and all the rest are completely matte. So I love that about these. She's got a really good track record with eyeshadows. It's a brand which I feel you can really trust when it comes to picking eyeshadows. So when I picked this up, I was really excited, but I'm sure a lot of you, maybe who are watching this, you've probably seen other reviews which have been quite negative. So I thought all I could do was give it a go and let you guys know exactly what I thought and give you my honest opinion. So if you're interested in seeing how to get this makeup look, which I'm wearing right now, and my review of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette, then just keep on watching. So I'm just going to start by applying the Collection Lasting Perfection concealer all over my lid as a primer. And then I'm just going to set that in place using Tempera, this shade here from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, because I love this shade so much. So I'm just setting it before I start using the other eyeshadows, just to make blending a lot easier. And that's kind of just like a standard basic creamy white shade that you could use from any palette, but that's just the one which I've got at hand. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So that's the eyes prep for the eyeshadow. So this is actually the first time I've used this and I'm so excited. So this is what the Subculture palette looks like. Sorry, I've taken the brush out because otherwise it's just going to keep falling out. It just looks like, to me, this is like quite a unique palette. Like, these aren't the sort of colours which you would see. I don't know, I just feel like this is quite a unique palette, which is why I was really drawn to it. So today I think I'm going to use the greens, because that's really what jumps out at me with this palette. I just feel like it's just, like, if you were to think of autumn, you would think of these colours. And that's why I love this palette, and I just think it's so unique. Well, I love this palette at the moment before trying it. I've heard quite a lot of negative reviews about this. So I'm just going to kind of try it and see what we think. And the first colour I'm going to take is this one here, and this is called Dawn, and this just looks like a slightly warm, light transition colour. So I'm just going to pop that in my crease. Ooh! That is powdery. I will say that has just been... That is actually quite powdery. But I don't feel there's any... I mean, at this stage, I don't feel like it's any more powdery than the Modern Renaissance one, but we'll see anyway. Okay. Just going in the crease. So for me, that colour blended out really beautifully. As I say, I have already set my lid with a just basic creamy shade, just to make blending a lot easier. But that's gone on really nicely. I'm happy with that. I think that's a pretty colour, just a standard light transition shade, to be honest with you. So I'm now just going to try the brush which came in the set, and I'm going to take the shade New Wave, because that's kind of jumping out to me. It's kind of like a matte orangey yellow. Yeah, really nice shade. So I'm just going to dip into it. Yeah, like, I've just done a few little things. To me, I mean, I could be going crazy, but that doesn't seem any more powdery than like other eyeshadow palettes which I've got. So I'm just going to pop this over the top of that colour just to warm it up a little bit. Ooh, I like that. Like, I've only just put a tiny little bit of that on, and that's really warmed it up. Ooh, I think that's so pretty. And I've had no problems layering those two colours together either. They've blended into each other really nicely. Colour is really pigmented. Like, if you're looking for a shade to just like warm up a look and give it that kind of orangey-ness to it, that would be like the perfect shade. I think I'm then going to take the shade Untamed, which is a really beautiful matte kind of forest green colour. I think it's so pretty. So I'm going to take that using the other end of the brush. Again, like, that's really not that like any more powdery to me than any other eyeshadow palettes that I've got that are a little bit powdery, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I'm just going to take the shade and I'm going to kind of focus it on the outer portion of the eye. Oh my goodness, do you see how pigmented that is? It's like the exact colour of my top as well. So I'm going to pop that on the outer corner of my eye, and then I am just going to kind of bring it into the crease. And I'm just placing it down at the minute. I'm not worrying too much about blending. I'm going to do the same on the other eye. And then I'm just going to use a clean brush. This is a Morphe M441, and I'm just going to start blending it in. I am just switching back to the brush that came in the palette, just because it's got a little bit more control with that one because it's a bit smaller. And I'm just blending out those harsh lines into the other shades that we've layered down. Really focusing colour like in this outer portion. And just gradually blending upwards so we get that really nice diffused smoky look. I am just going to bring it quite far in here as well, because I just like the way it looks when you deepen up this area here. And I'm just going to do the same on the other eye. I'm then just going to use this shade here, which is called Rowdy, and this just looks, it almost looks purpley, but I think it's just a matte brown, but it does look quite purpley there. So I'm just going to layer that close to my lower lash line, just on the outer portion, and take it into the outer crease as well, kind of in the outer V area, just to deepen it up a little bit. Ooh, again, that's really pigmented. I would say that as I'm trying to layer those two shades on top of each other, I don't know if you can see, but I feel like it has gone a little bit patchy on my lid, which is quite disappointing. But I'm just going to try and layer a little bit more of that Rowdy shade on to see if I can kind of get rid of that. Yeah, I would say that really that's the only downside I'm getting at the minute, is actually layering that Rowdy shade on top of, what was it, Untamed, has gone a little bit patchy. See if I build it up on this side whether the same thing happens, because I'm just building the colour up, and then it's when you buff it out, I'm finding the colour's just buffing away, if that makes sense. Like, it's just not layering nicely on top of each other. I am just going to clean up the lid a little bit as well, using that same Lasting Perfection concealer, just so we can pop a little bit of a pop of something shimmery on the lid. So I'm just going to cut my crease ever so slightly, nothing too dramatic, and I'll probably diffuse it quite a lot, so I wouldn't worry about getting this bit perfect. Then I'm just blending that in by dabbing my finger. And I'm then just going to take this shade here, which is called Adorn, and this is kind of a warm goldy copper shade, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to wet my brush using some Fix Plus, and then I'm just going to dab it in and pop it straight on top of where we've just cut the crease with some concealer. Oh, that's pretty. And then I'm just going to start taking that Untamed shade again and just blending it into that beautiful coppery gold, just to make it really seamless. And we'll just do the same on the other side. Do you see what just happened? Oh God. So I don't know if you can see, but that just went really patchy where I tried to do that cut crease. So I'm just going to pack a little bit more colour on. and try and save it by blending it out. It didn't do that on the other side, but it's definitely just done that on this side. I'm just going to use my finger just to pack it on, just to help diffuse it, because that didn't blend that easily once it was wet. So I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm just clearing up all this fallout. To highlight the brow bone, I am just going to take a little bit of this shade here called Cube, and it's just a, well, it looks like a very frosty, shimmery highlight shade. So I'm just going to pop that on my brow bone. I don't really do too much of a frosty brow bone these days, but oh, it looks like iridescent pink, is it? Oh, it's iridescent frickin' pink. Okay, so this wouldn't be my typical thing that I would wear with green, but I just want to try a few more of the colours out, so I am just going to pop it on there. So I'm just going to go away and put on my liquid eyeliner and my lashes and the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to do my lower waterline. So I've just finished doing the rest of my makeup, and this is how the eyes are looking so far, and I'm just going to do my lower lash line now. So I'm going to take the shade Edge, which is this one just here. It's kind of a mustardy colour, I would say, a matte mustard shade. So I'm just going to pop that underneath my lower lash line as the kind of transition colour. I have put a little bit of a brown pencil, I think it's the NYX one, in my waterline, just to make it all come together a little bit. So I'm just going to pop that on. Now I am just a little bit worried about how, because these are quite powdery, at how this is going to go in terms of fallout, and as I suspected, that has got quite a lot of fallout there. I mean, I don't mind too much as long as it does stain easily. So I'm just going to start buffing that out. So this is just the kind of transition colour, I guess, the equivalent of, but on the lower lash line. So this is just going to be the colour that we blend all the other colours out into. I'm then just going to take the shade Axis, which is a little bit similar to Untamed, but it seems to be a little bit more vibrant. So I'm just going to take that and pop that right onto the lash line just below where that brown liner is, and kind of pull it down a little bit. Now that has got horrendous fallout, I don't know if you can see. Again, it has gone a little bit patchy, layering the colours together just here, I don't know if you can see. So I am just going to go over the top of that again with the Untamed shade. The fallout really is quite bad, so as you're using these, I would recommend just trying to keep on top of it, because typically what I would do is just brush all the fallout away at the end, but with this I'm a bit nervous to leave it. As you can see, it has created a little bit of a shadow here from that fallout. I'm then just going to take a little bit of the matte brown Rowdy colour, and I'm just going to layer that really close to my lash line just to add a little bit more definition. That's just going to help bring the greens together, make it look a little bit more smoky. Again, you can see how bad the fallout is. Oh my god, I don't know if you just saw that, but I buffed away. I've gone to buff away the fallout and it's just smudged it completely. Oh no. Oh god, how am I gonna freaking fix this? Wow, that was stressful. So I'm just going to take a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm going to go in with the shade Electric, which is this one here, and I'm just going to pop that on my inner corner. Ooh, that was pretty. Oh, that was really pretty actually. I must say I am loving like this whole green vibe. I feel like it's so pretty. So this is the finished makeup look. I will zoom in so you can see the eyes a little bit closer up. So the main issue I feel like I had with these eyeshadows was the patchiness, which you can see in kind of this outer corner here. I think I've got it on both eyes. That was my main issue. Hang on, I'll zoom out so I can talk. So yeah, as I was saying, the patchiness I think was the main issue for me. As you could see, like when I was trying to, sorry, I'm gonna get the colours up so I know exactly what I'm talking about. When I was trying to layer Rowdy over the top of Untamed, you could see that it was just taking away the pigment, or like the pigmentation of the Untamed. It was making it really, really patchy, and that I just found a little bit strange, because I thought that like layering a really dark colour, like there wouldn't have been a problem with it taking, but they just didn't seem to sit right. The other thing which I didn't really like was the fact that Cube had this iridescent pink. I was expecting it to be iridescent gold, but yeah, it's iridescent pink, which I find a little bit strange considering they're quite like earthy tones in this palette, and I just think that iridescent pink is a little bit, I don't know, I just felt it was a little bit off. I guess if you were using like these colours, iridescent pink would look quite nice, but I don't know, let me know what you think, because I think it's kind of like one of those each to their own type situations. Iridescent pink just wasn't doing it for me. Other than that, the powderiness really didn't bother me that much, because I really didn't think it was that much different to the Modern Renaissance palette. I haven't had this for very long, and you can see that, like, look how powdery that is, and this colour, like, I use all the time and it's gone down quite a lot because it is a really powdery product. So to be honest, I don't think that there was much difference between the two in terms of powderiness, so that doesn't really bother me too much. Obviously it would be great if there was less fallout and less kickback and less product wastage and that sort of thing. That would be great, but I think this is something like we see with a lot more palettes these days. A lot of eyeshadow palettes have this very powdery finish to them, but in terms of pigmentation, like the pigmentation is so good, like you would have seen as I was applying. The colours are really, really vivid and they just look beautiful, but it's just when you start to, well, for me it was when I started to layer these two colours, they just didn't want to layer. The other issue I had was, which you would have seen as I was applying my makeup, was when I did my cut crease and then I tried to blend in my concealer, it made the eyeshadow just go really like weird and patchy, like it just didn't want to blend it at all. These two here I thought were just absolutely gorgeous. They reminded me a lot of the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette, kind of a similar texture to those, not quite as flaky. I used Fix Plus, which made them look really shiny. I think that this gold just looks absolutely gorgeous on the lid. Like, I mean, the thing that annoys me about this palette is because, like, when you look at that, it's so unique and different, and like I feel like we've not seen a palette like this before in these types of colours, and I desperately wanted it to be like amazing, like amazing to apply, but that experience I've had with patchiness just makes me a little bit sad because I just expected it to be so much better. So in terms of price, I think I bought mine for £42 off the Anastasia Beverly Hills website. I will link it down below as always. And in terms of price, do I think this is worth it? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair price. I think that's kind of a very standard price for a lot of palettes these days, around £40. So even though it may be like it didn't perform as well as I'd hoped, I still don't think that's a bad price for what it is. So that is the end of today's video. As always, if there is anything in particular you would like to see on this channel, please just leave me a comment down below and I will try and get it done for you. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!